threw down 2 days live stream, a little happy hour, a little dinner. We got an event planned Q4. Yes. Stay tuned. Yes. We're going into the events business. Robbie, Andy, the boys. Yes. Shout out.
2 straight days, live stream straight from permissionless to Rollup TV. Coming for the #1 spot. Don't wait up.
We'll see you around the timeline. Feels good to be back.
Wow.
Bang.
We are so back where it's all over. We are so back. It's all over. We're so back. It's all over. Which one is it today? Crypto Twitter. Robbie.
Yeah, I'm not sure what crypto Twitter thinks right now. Yesterday I was swimming with manatees.
Okay.
Embracing my Florida lifestyle.
Okay.
And I must say the manatees are they're very gentle creatures. They simply flow and ebb with the flow, and it feels like they and we are entering a Goldilocks era.
Oh yeah,
where macro policies completing the soft landing that they had set out to do. Inflation.
Aaron says GM, what's up, Aaron? Good to see you, buddy.
Inflation's cooling off. And honestly, it's unanchored. They don't care about inflation now. Maybe it goes a little bit higher, but we know that countries are running all of their economies hot. They're going to be printing money. They're going to be giving stimmy checks.
So we're back. Is what
revenue.
you're saying. It's not over. We're back.
I'd say on a scale of it's all over to we're so back, we are closer to we are so back than it's all over.
Okay, cool. That's good to know. Well, it's pretty cold down here in Florida. I know you're up there as well. I got like a blanket on. Feel great. We're just absolutely cooking behind the scenes right now, guys. We have a great show. We're a bit behind, so we're going to bring up our first guest. We have the lovely lady from Wallet in Telegram, Irina Chukina, CSO of Wallet in TG. I mean, guys, this application has gone from like a crypto nerd cypherpunk app to like powering all of the world's drug dealers, con artists, and human traffickers. No, I'm just messing around, guys. That's Signal. That is Signal. No, Telegram has eclipsed a point where your friends have it. You get the little message. Hey, X so and so just joined Telegram. Oh, that's cool. How'd that happen? And so I mean, it's just crazy. And so obviously Telegram has Ton Network. They've got kind of like this broader blockchain strategy. They've got like sticker packs that have like certain on-chain stuff in the application too. So yeah, guys, we're gonna get Irina Chukina up. Stoked to have her on as our first guest of the day. And she is in the back. She's ready. Irina, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. Hi, everyone. Thanks for having me. Thanks, Rob and Andy.
Absolutely.
I hope you only heard the second part of my intro, which is that Telegram has absolutely been growing into the application that your friends just have. It is the app that you get this notification that, hey, so and so just joined Telegram. It's really eclipsed the mainstream kind of market. I'd like to talk about that a bunch more. First and foremost, how are you? How's your day going?
I'm very good. Thank you so much. This is the end of my day. I'm based in London, so it's coming to, yeah, like 5:18. So coming closer to the end. So far, it's been a really productive day. Yeah.
There we go. Irina, I'd love to learn a little bit more about Telegram's crypto strategy because I think there's a strong ethos alignment between the privacy preserving elements of crypto as well as Telegram, the free speech libertarian movement that happens in both Telegram and crypto. And there's also Ton and this mini app ecosystem that's thriving on Telegram. And so I'd love a little bit of a higher level intro into what crypto on Telegram means. And then also, would love to get into your role and what the wallet plays into that.
Okay, sounds good. So let me probably start from perhaps a little bit of a quick summary of the history of Telegram. Perhaps some people know that at some stage the founders of Telegram have built a blockchain called Ton, the open network, and then passed it on to the community to develop. And basically, Telegram has a native blockchain embedded into it that actually powers a lot of those use cases and mini apps that you were just talking about. As far as I remember, there's a few dozen thousands of those mini apps currently available. Some of them have made their owners and founders millions. I think Pavel has recently just shared that last year alone, there was $1 billion that was made on Telegram by the creators of the mini apps. And I think blockchain is precisely the sort of the fertile ground, the connecting tissue that connects them all. Wallet in Telegram, the company that I'm part of, is one of the really strong use cases. We're probably one of the largest mini apps. So you've mentioned 1 billion users. That's how many monthly active users Telegram has. A wallet has about 140 million registered users to date. Not all of them are active, but that's how many people have touched and registered and interacted with the wallet over the course of the last few years. Why and what makes us special is we do have actually a dual wallet experience. We have a custodial solution for those people that prefer simplicity. It's a little bit more tailored to the mass retail audience. It's really sleek and simple. It doesn't really sort of overwhelm you with the Web3 features. And then we do have a self-custodial decentralized wallet for those people that prefer to keep their own sort of money in control and choose not to trust anyone else to be the custodian of their money. So I guess that duality is precisely what I find really powerful, because we like to give people choice, really. And that's what is helping us to get traction, very healthy amount of attraction. Yeah.
Nice. Very cool. Speaking of traction, I'm curious, how many users on Telegram actually hold, like what percentage of the global Telegram users, and I know I'm putting you on the spot here, so any rough estimate, or if you have the exact number, even better, like how many of the total Telegram users have and hold crypto on Telegram, the app, in the wallet?
I wonder if this data point actually exists.
Okay.
Again, the only data point that I know is 140 million of those Telegram users have wallet in Telegram, but they may have maybe some other wallets as well. There is multiple solutions. Again, there is the Telegram allows any application, and there are multiple financial services and like bots that I've seen. So it could be that there's quite a few more.
All right, so I'm gonna get the app right now. So wallet in Telegram, how do I get this thing?
So depending on where you are, you may be able to find it in settings, but I reckon if you're in the US, actually you would
I am
be
in the
able to see it in
US. I'm in
settings.
Florida.
Yes, you will. All of the US users would find it right in their Telegram app, right in
Okay.
settings.
Okay.
You don't need to download anything else, and that's another
awesome. Okay, so it says
really cool
wallet.
part. Wallet. Yeah, it
Okay,
says
click
wallet.
it. I agree to terms of use. Definitely
Yes.
gonna clip
Well, you'll
this.
need to create the seed phrase because what you would be seeing here is the self-custodial wallet. Yes, there you go.
Okay,
Precisely. It's right there.
beautiful. All right, so
There
create
is
new
no
wallet.
extra downloads. You'll register. You'll be able to start using it right away. You'll be able, so this is Ton blockchain assets.
Okay,
What you'll see there is USDT, Ton, and probably a few hundred of other assets, including tokenized gold.
okay.
That is also that you can invest in. Some people, depending on the cycle and this which stage where we are at the moment, they choose to invest in sort of real world assets. Gold is a wonderful product by Tether that has been also brought onto Ton blockchain that quite a few people are using as an investment, as part of their investment portfolio. But beyond that, you can also manage and manage your NFT collections. You'll see there is like a special section for managing gifts, collectibles, send them to your friends. The beauty of it is that you can now, once you top up your balance, which is 0%, you're in Miami, right? So
Yep.
there you go. So you'll be able to top it up with Apple Pay, 0% commission, up to $500 in USDT. Sorry, it all feels like a sales speech. It's not. I'm
All right,
really
so
excited about the product.
how much ton are you gonna send me for the onboarding here?
I
Where's
could,
my
yes, I
little
could.
free gift here, Irina? Come on.
There should be a referral fee for sure.
Oh
But no,
yeah.
genuinely, once you top it up, you can send it to anyone. The beauty of it is that you will actually be able to, there you go. You can send it to any of your friends, irrespective of whether or not they're registered. So literally, you can then bring all of them. I can send you 50 ton. You'll send it to 50 of your friends, and we can bring in 50 more people.
And then you guys have Ton Wallet News channel as well, I see on Telegram.
There
Which I
is.
would love for some clips from this video to be posted on that channel, by the way.
Yeah, precisely. Yeah, for sure. We will do cross-pollination, right? No, but this is, in all seriousness, just the fact that it took you what, a few seconds to
Yeah,
register into
easy.
the app. That's how long it takes, and that's what, I don't know, a few clicks. Yes, you do have to create your seed phrase, but basically the amount of friction is, I don't know, like 10 times lower than any of the
Well, I just did
traditional
email
apps.
sign up. It's even easier. Forget the whole manual seed phrase. Just go email and set it up. It's
You could do it that
obviously
way as well.
different folks have different strokes, and I see you can use Athena's yield bearing products on
Yes,
here.
you can.
You can
There's
you can earn on
USDT.
Tether. You
Yes,
can
you
do
can.
there's like giveaways for plush Pepes and Telegram gifts.
There are indeed. Yes, you can win a Plush Pepe. I think there's still a few more days. Look, yes, there's obviously some short-term sort of activations and promos, which our team is responsible for. But then there is also quite a bit of the, really sort of evergreen features that help people manage their money. And I think whilst you guys are in the US, you probably are, in one of the well, we're all fortunate to be in the market where we have the options and we can choose anything. But the fact Telegram is particularly popular in the emerging markets, and if you actually bring access to those financial tools in places where there's no access, I think it can make a really big difference. So that is actually part of our strategy, trying to make sure that we democratize access to finance through the power of blockchain. And one really exciting thing that we are going to bring there as well is tokenized equities and stocks. And I love the principle behind it, the power behind it. If you can actually invest into US stocks from as low as $1, similar to what Robinhood has done for many of us, but do it via Telegram natively with minimum friction and also globally, wherever you are in the world. Like, isn't that a cool thing to do? I actually think that this is pretty mind-blowing. So that's coming in a few weeks' time. We have announced it for the custodial solution, which you cannot see, but on the Ton wallet that you have just registered and just opened, it's going to be available before the end of the year. Let's put it that way.
I'm a bit distracted because I'm playing this game on my Ton wallet. I'm playing Boinkers. Have you guys? It's kind of fun. And there's a bunch of them on here, and they have so many users. I can see on the grossing apps, Boinkers 942,000 users. I heard of this hamster combat one, 2.3 million users. Some of these have gone somewhat viral, even outside of the Telegram ecosystem. Irina, what are some of your favorite games, favorite mini apps here?
We're working on some. Well, I mean, there's some pragmatic ones and there are some fun ones. What are my favorite games? well, I like the simple ones. The Lumberjack is a fun team game that you can send to all your friends and you can have a competition. But there's also some really cool, proper RPG sort of turn-based games as well. But there's a whole bunch of other apps as well. There is whenever I travel now, I buy a SIM on Telegram, an eSIM, literally just I pay it by a Ton wallet, operate by a Ton wallet, but everything happens now within Telegram. There's shops and storefronts. There's communities, paid communities that are organized around, I don't know, specific themes and passion points. I think the power behind the Telegram economy is immense. One thing that I don't know whether it was ever covered, and like my personal favorite thing is that on Ton blockchain, there is this thing, the product called Ton Connect. It's basically a form of digital ID. I'm not sure if you've seen it. It allows you to sign into any of the apps and confirm transactions, pay for things just by, well, by utilizing this kind of connecting tissue based on the blockchain. So it's your, I don't know, I've seen a similar thing on WeChat, really, when you're utilizing the single digital ID, but when you put it in the Western world and you give it to 1 billion users, I think it's a pretty powerful thing. So Ton Connect is literally eliminating any friction between the mini app developers and the actual revenue they can make.
Yeah, which I think is something that people want to get when they use Telegram in general, is like distribution, users, and they want to figure out easy ways to basically build. I mean, there's a lot of automated products we've seen, like trading bots and sniping things and these types of products, like NFT platforms, these gamified platforms. It's interesting that you're bringing on tokenized US stocks and ETFs, because like that is a whole nother question. And I feel like this is like the broader theme here for you guys. It's like crypto and finance is converging. Crypto and finance and social is also converging at the same time. So it's like you got these TradFi, DeFi, if you will, coming together, making finance, and then finance and social media are coming together. And so it's like there's the multiple convergences happening at one. I'm curious kind of like how you anticipate regulation, compliance, and just general kind of like rules of the road to be, changing and shifting as this trend happens. Maybe better asked, the new administration in the US has been very, very bullish and positive for crypto. How do you anticipate and how do you create your strategy for wallet on Telegram based off of this new regulatory regime, while keeping in mind that this trend of this convergence between finance and social is like probably one of the biggest trends of the decade?
Cool. Yeah, compliance. My favorite question, of course. Look, what I know is that the global adoption probably won't happen without global systems and just like, the financial systems accepting this change, really. But what the good news is that the change is indeed happening. So Genius Act, in fact, the whole 2025 has been the year of stable coins. And I think globally that wave that the US has started is now going to spread to more and more places, more and more regions. What the genius element between the Genius Act is that I think it sort of opened the world to the fact that there is a massive economic incentive for the government to introduce clarity into stablecoin issuance and the regulatory status of the stablecoins, because now every discussion that I'm part of, people are talking about the fact that US government is increasing the global circulation of USD. And this is so clever. It was so clever of the administration to make that decision, that now I've spoken to some folks in regulation, working in policy making in other places, and they're looking at that, and there is like that spark of interest. The economic impact of the stablecoin legitimacy really is now helping us all to get that clarity that we were hoping to get for years. And I think the other, and that's why all of the, the banks are talking about stablecoin strategy, fintechs are all talking about the stablecoin strategy. I've seen like 5 announcements today about, the TradFi Web2 companies embedding stablecoins into their payment flows, into their experience, providing. So this, what used to be water and oil for so many years is now finally starting to emulsify and to actually come together. And I love seeing the fact. I do expect more of this to happen. I hope that the region that I'm living in, Europe, is going to start to embrace a lot more of it. And that's going to bring benefits to the whole ecosystem. Now, coming back to how we treat this change at the wallet, we are quite sort of intentional about it, and we want to make sure that we don't cut corners whenever, especially when unnecessary. It's part of our strategy. We want to make sure that we sort of ride on that wave as opposed to go against the stream or try to fly under the radar. So compliance is a competitive advantage, as some people like to say, is something that we're trying to make a really big part of our strategy. We're applying for licenses for the custodial wallet wherever we can, and in fact we have quite a few in progress already. We will be announcing and launching new markets once those licenses will come in. But then for the self-custodial one, the beauty of it is that it's actually it doesn't require the license to operate in the rest of the world, really. So kind of a nice combo between, the regulated world and the world of decentralized finance.
It's not that boring. That was a good answer.
Yay.
It's important. And I would just like to just double click on the second part of that question. And then I think Rob has something like, maybe you can speak to just more broadly outside of like the compliance and the kind of growth of the industry frame of mind, like how you think about the convergence of finance and social, like when it comes to your business, like what does that look like?
Look, I'm a big believer in super apps. And I think one of the reasons why I joined Wallet in Telegram is that a few years ago, I used to be based out of Asia, spent 8 years being in Singapore, and I saw, first of all, this huge super wave, almost like a storm that was coming from China, that inspired the rest of the world to start exploring use cases. I was, back in the days, I was working at Grab, and we were building a super app that was built on the ride hailing. But the concept of combining your day-to-day interactions and social relations and your network with finance, I feel like it's probably the most mind-blowing, the most fascinating thing that could happen to all of us. I know that our friends Elon has been, or at least X has been quite vocal about actually experimenting and trying to get a few licenses and building a super app on top of X, but I haven't seen anything actually happening there. Now, within Telegram, things have progressed and advanced quite a bit more. The use cases are immense. So obviously the P2P sort of transfers, sending money to each other between individuals, whether domestically or internationally as a remittance, sort of in a remittance scenario, is just in itself is powerful. Just the fact that now, Andy, the moment that you top it up, you can send money to pretty much anyone you know, irrespective of whether or not they have Tone Wallet, just anyone you know within Telegram, 1 billion people, well, hypothetically, that is mind-blowing. And it will land and it will be delivered instantly, and the cost is incomparable to anything that you would use if you use like a remittance platform. That's one. But then beyond that, social commerce is such a strong new sector that has developed over the course of the last few years. We know that people are making the creator economy is becoming a really big industry. People are making a huge amount of money there. Like, this is now the new career, really. How can you earn on the audience attention? How do you captivate, create content? And actually that becomes your thing. How do you monetize that? All of that is enabled within, again, like the social media, but you have to ensure that there is a payments component in it. So every single one of the social media networks would have payments as one of the really important enablers for their global strategy. But beyond that, it's not just about community and creator economy. There's also, you know, again, e-commerce stores and brands like, I don't know, there's football clubs, sorry, soccer clubs and whatever, that are now building and creating communities and are selling merchandise and NFTs within the Telegram community. So it can be a business, it can be, I don't know, a small business, a solopreneur kind of entrepreneurial journey, or it can be a huge international company that can be built literally just on Telegram alone. So I find like this is mind-blowing. We're talking and discussing, exploring ideas about social trading. If you're into investments, what you do is you actually sign up for and follow a few experts on the community. Sometimes you follow people on Twitter, sometimes you maybe even join some paid communities where, like, you know, an investment expert is sharing their tips and advice, and that is enabled by Telegram. And if you can embed a wallet, and you know, you can literally, I don't know, do copy tracing via 2 clicks, by pre-authorizing and setting up the parameters of your subscription. I actually think that this could be a really powerful way. Again, no separate apps. You don't need to change and switch between all of those things. It all happens naturally within the same universe.
Yeah, and it makes things a lot easier. And so as we're helping emerging markets have access to some of these products, first it's stable coins, and then the natural next question is, what else can I do with my stable coins? Well, then you can go tokenize stocks, perpetuals, you can do all these things, play these games. And it is a very gradual process for someone to become more accustomed to managing their own finances. And I think that's the nature of the super app as you describe it. I'm also curious about some of the you know, Telegram native features that you guys have had, and generally how Telegram has continued its trajectory towards a super app. You guys have been, you know, one of the, you know, the most impressive and resilient players when it has come to censorship resistant. Like the founder Pavel has, you know, been targeted by, you know, several law enforcement agencies, and also, you know, has just totally stood in the face of adversity when it's come to resisting censorship from some of these organizations. He also offered to buy the Louvre stolen jewels, which I think is just kind of a funny thing that happened in the last couple of weeks. But you know, I'm curious a little bit how you guys have thought about censorship resistance, and now that you've integrated this wallet into the platform, you know, have you had any run-ins or any interactions with Pavel when it comes to censorship resistance? You know, how have you kind of incorporated this belief and this ethos into the wallet, and then integrated that deeper and deeper into Telegram? How do you think this will bolster Telegram as a super app itself, as it goes more into this route of empowering people with tools for both finance and social?
I think this sort of belief in the sort of permissionless world where no one can actually control the freedom of speech or the freedom of money movement and other things is precisely what, you know, one of the sort of core convictions that Telegram and in fact all of our products have been built on. But again, like what we are, the way we have integrated into a strategy is that we have decided intentionally that we will continue to give people choice. The choice, it's a little bit like in the real world, really. There is part of the ecosystem where you have to comply with the social contracts if you choose to do so. But then there is some other parts, and we're giving you that on wallet, which is virtually there's like no control over your funds. So there is no. It's a world where censorship doesn't really exist. So I personally don't believe in mandating either one of or the other. I actually think that the more optionality we provide to the users, the better. Now, when it comes to embedding some of the native Telegram features and like apart from that ethos, we are trying to make sure that we feel as natively as to the chats and the experience as possible. One specific thing, again, like it's not about the censorship, it's more about how we are part of the Telegram experience, really.
Right.
And one of the things that we've also integrated into through our partnership with Telegram is you'll see us in the attach menu. So which is again like another way. So you send people a photo, you send them money, but again, like it's all private. Blockchain is making it as seamless as it can be. And it all lives within the same environment that believes in the same things. Yeah, I hope that answers your question.
I mean, we've been pontificating this saying "return to fundamentals" at the show here, and it just feels like the ideals that you shared just now are really aligned with the fundamentals that I think this space needs, and what a lot of us came here for. And then somehow we've gotten like warped into different directions for a variety of reasons, but it does feel like Telegram really embodies that overall idea. I think last thing from please.
No, it's just, it's a non-negotiable. I mean, like,
Correct.
I think the reason why I'm having such a hard time responding to this is that it's just, sort of in the blood and the ethos of everything that we're creating. I feel like we're not making it a self-centric sort of ideology. We are, in fact, trying to add utility on top of it, because ultimately we're also here to solve some of the basic human needs. When it comes to money, they want to be able to save it, they want to be able to spend it and pay each other. They also want to invest it, they want to send it to each other safely, simply. Sometimes they care about the everything, the underlying infrastructure and how it's secure and how it's protected. Sometimes people just want that utility and simplicity, and sometimes they're not able to have that access. So we're trying to combine all of those elements into one recipe, into one experience, without really force feeding them the Web3 ideology, the crypto terminology. We're simplifying the language. We try to not sort of overwhelm people with the super complicated, details of the protocols. Some people want to know and want to dive deeper into those, but some people literally are just, maybe the real question is, how can people really use crypto without necessarily knowing or noticing that they're using it? Maybe they don't need to know the difference between all of those, again, like the asset types, and do some. Obviously, we all need to do our research, but it's just trying to eliminate as much of that complexity as possible to make it relevant, again, to 1 billion people. Maybe 1 million out of 1 billion is actually going to do the really deep, sophisticated trading, but the remaining 99% of the population are just normies, really. It's our, I don't know, aunts and uncles and parents and the taxi drivers and all of those people in India and South Africa and Uzbekistan that are waking up and reading news and using it as their daily messaging app. Do they
that's
need
incredible.
to know about the Web3 sort of lingo? Probably not
at all. But it is our duty to provide them a software and a system which upholds the ethos that we build in, such that they get the same benefits of the system that we want to exist in. And that is what I will leave you guys with. Thank you, Irina. Thank you for coming on, being a part of the show. It's been an absolute pleasure. Irina from London, signing off. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Thanks, Irina.
Cheers. Alrighty, guys. Awesome first segment. Telegram's doing incredible work. I mean, they're literally, that app was so easy to download. To know there's 140 million people on there, I'm curious what percentage of the people actually have, funds on there. But that's still really impressive.
Yeah, look, I think the old messaging sort of framework, even take email and fax and these sorts of things are on their way out, just along with legacy media. The new wave is not even these integrated messaging apps. You really don't even need to have cell service these days, right? Obviously, like us in the US, we had this. You can just have Wi-Fi, right, and be just fine. So you download Telegram, you can make phone calls, you can go on WhatsApp, and just do.
You need a cell phone number to use WhatsApp, Rob, and a cell phone number to use Telegram.
You get a cell phone number for sure, but you don't need to have cellular service turned on. You can just use Wi-Fi.
All right, let's do an experiment. You're going to go to Buenos Aires with no cell service. I'm going to go with cell service, and we'll see who gets robbed and abducted, all right?
Let's do an experiment. Let's take you off of Stimmies and see how far we can get.
All right, we got Dan coming up from SQD.
There he is.
Ready. Let's pull him up. And yeah, stoked to have Dan on. Squid and Resolve AI, a public company, have reached some really cool terms on a deal. We're going to hear about that. We're going to hear about more about the AI kind of general realm of AI crypto. So, yeah, and just generally about SQD as well. So good to have Dan up. Dan,
Yeah.
welcome to the show.
Here he is.
Hey guys, pleasure to be here.
Absolutely, man. Dan, pleasure to have you. We've had a couple of members from Squid on, but I'd love just a first frame in one line. What is Squid? What is SQD?
At this point, it's an ecosystem of data-driven products. That's why I tell people these days we started off in the indexing space and now we're getting a lot more ambitious. So yeah, ecosystem of data-driven products.
Very cool. Awesome. And yeah, I mean, you guys have done quite a number of things as of recently. You've had a couple of big launches. And when you guys are looking at the indexing layer, we've had conversations with RPCs and all these kinds of things. But what was the problem that you guys identified, right? And then how does AI help integrate to ultimately solve that problem?
Yeah, I mean, it's a really interesting question, one we get all the time. Fundamentally, the company started in a hackathon about 4 years ago where we couldn't get data easily, right? The validator nodes, their main job is moving the chain forwards, right? Blockchains are all about transactions and consensus. Like, how do we get to the next block? Getting data in is the priority. Getting data out is more of an afterthought. So an RPC node is just, yeah, it's not an optimal experience for getting data out. And we spent the last 4 years working on that problem and now have hundreds of clients using our technology to make getting data out of blockchain and turning it into something that's frankly useful in the structure that they need it. So that's the pain we're focused on. How do we get data out in a fast, performant manner and put it in a structure that's useful for whatever application or service is consuming it? And then on the AI point, obviously AI wants context, right? It wants as much information as it can get, but it needs that information in a consumable manner. So if we can give an AI agent structured data, and obviously Resolve are very interested in this, that's part of the reason we're working together. If we can give an AI structured data, AI agents are bound by the data that they can suck up, right? That they can consume. So it's a match made in heaven, really. Like we're perfectly positioned for this AI agent boom.
Beautiful. Dan, I think that the AI sector has just been absolutely exploding, right? I mean, it's in the last week, AI has gone through it's closed a chapter and it's opened a new one. And that is really primarily around OpenAI coming out, restructuring their deal with Microsoft, moving away from this nonprofit company. I don't think any of us believed that they were a nonprofit in the first place. We'll get your take on that. And they've announced that this $1 trillion valuation IPO. All of this happening while Elon Musk and Sam Altman are fighting over scraps, over Sam Altman's Tesla order, over credits, over who copied who, etc. The entire AI world has been kind of reshuffled in the last 2 weeks. In addition, OpenAI is getting sued by multiple people who have committed suicide as a result of the AI telling them that it is an okay thing to do. The AI has told them that it is what they need to do to get their best experience out of life. You know how when you tell ChatGPT, hey, I'm an awesome person, and ChatGPT's like, yeah, you're great. Or you're like, hey, I suck. And you're like, yeah, you're terrible. Sometimes it just agrees with you. You're like, this isn't AI. This is just somebody's agreeing with everything that I say. Anyhow, I digress. Can you maybe give us your perspective of the state of AI 2025? Like, what is the landscape? I know that we want to talk SQD, crypto AI, Resolve, all the work that you're doing, but perhaps just give us the state of AI 2025. What does the landscape look like from your perspective?
Yeah, I mean, that's a really interesting question. We're touching a lot of topics there. I mean, on the point of OpenAI's valuation and all the shenanigans this week, yeah, I try and listen to as many podcasts as possible, and I was listening to the All In pod the other day, and they were saying, look, you can either think that AI is going to steal all of our jobs and we're all going to be out of work, or you can think that we're in a massive bubble, right? Both can't be true. So like we have a lot of kind of doom narratives around AI about how it's going to change the world. From my perspective personally, I don't think either is true. I don't think it's instantly going to replace all of our jobs, and I don't necessarily think we're in a bubble. When I see what I can personally achieve, like I'm sure you guys in your daily lives, you do a ton of research, right, around guests, around projects. You constantly have to consume an amazing amount of information. So like, I'm sure it's the same for you. I can do things now in 3 hours that would have taken me a week. So when someone asks me what's the state of AI, I go to what I can actually authoritatively say, right? Rather than all of the rumor and gossip. And to me, it's made an incredible impact on the way I work, the way my company works. And I don't know who's going to win. I don't know if OpenAI really are worth $1 trillion. I mean, what they've got like 13 billion in revenue right now. And that clip between Sam Altman and whoever was interviewing him, like he got really quite aggressive, shall we say, when he was asked about the revenue. He was really kind of defensive. So yeah, I don't know if they can get to 100 million ARR or whatever it might be, but I can tell you it's changed my life. I can tell you that you guys probably move way faster because of it. So like this isn't a fad, this isn't a trend, like none of this is going anywhere. So much of it is open source. And when you start to combine AI and Web3, then suddenly the state of the world starts to look really quite interesting, right? An AI agent can't have a bank account, but it can definitely have a wallet, you know, and that's a really, really interesting juxtaposition for me. So yeah, we could talk about this, I think, for a long time. But to me, it's a really exciting landscape. I don't know who's going to win, but I know that we are definitely moving forwards here, right? Like it's something we're never going back, is how
Yeah, I mean, 100%, right? And so my big questions marks with AI when it comes to crypto is like data privacy, data storage, training models. Um, let's see. I mean, I see those three. Where does the data get stored that like? Where does my prompts get stored? Who can see it, and who is training these models that I'm using? So maybe from that lens, from this crypto AI convergence, where does SQD fit? You know, where does this landscape look like in a couple of years? Will we actually see the proliferation of like decentralized AI, decentralized training, decentralized models, knowing that this sector has gotten about 1/100th of the actual funding compared to the SF Web 2 AI world? Will we actually see this model work, or is it just something that altruists and people who think that, you know, they don't want the big tech companies to have their data are just trying to push for?
Yeah, I mean, that's an incredibly hard question to answer. Like, I can't promise you that we're going to get decentralized AI proliferating everywhere, but like from my kind of perspective, from SQD's perspective, maybe let me give you a little bit of color. Resolve are an e-commerce giant, right? Like that's the industry that they're involved in, and that's what they're innovating. And they can see that we're going in a specific direction, right? We're moving to crypto native payments, right? Allowing people to pay, maybe not in, you know, some kind of meme coin, you know, the Rollup TV coin, but they're allowing people to pay. They see a world where stables and just, you know, normal everyday e-commerce is going to be a thing, right? So then suddenly you can see all of these things starting to converge. You can see that an AI agent would make a massive difference to an e-commerce experience. You can see that paying in stables would potentially make a massive difference to an e-commerce experience. Maybe not in certain countries, the US, the UK, maybe we're happy with our payment systems, right? But there are many, many countries around the globe. Every Web3 conference I go to, I talk to someone from a country who says, hey, we don't have stable payment rails, right? It's a huge problem. So if you combine the AI agents with crypto native payments and put it into an e-commerce experience, you can start to see where there's really going to be a difference in that world. And so that's why Resolve and SQD makes sense, because we've got all of the Web3 data. That's what we do. We make that experience, as I said at the start, much easier. And Resolve are experts in e-commerce. To your broader question of, are we going to get decentralized AI? As you said, right, with 1% of the money, it's a bit of a David versus Goliath fight. Like the amount of capex that even just OpenAI alone are deploying. And a lot of the time, users simply don't care if something is decentralized or centralized, right? They care if it works. So I think in order for decentralized AI to really take off, we're going to have to find a niche where it does something that centralized AI can't do. And I think that privacy of models you talk about, that privacy of data, maybe the differentiating factor. I'm in this industry for a reason, and I believe in that direction. Will it happen in the next few years? I mean, I think we'll make big moves, but I don't know exactly where we'll be.
Get muted there, Rob. Yeah, I mean, I agree. Privacy is the important question to answer. Rob?
Yeah, I'm thinking about how we can unlock more of this. Like, we used to have a lot of conversations about the indexing space and how this was going to open up multi-chain. You know, we were going to live in this modular world and this modular future, but we had this fragmentation problem. Well, if we can index all the data, we can put this all into one API, or we can put this all into one RPC, then we open up this very composable world. And so I'm curious, again, we've kind of taken this route. It is still fragmented, especially with regards to AI and the blockchain landscape. Did we solve it? Did we get, all of the indexing? Now we have everything in one place. It can be composable. Do we still have more to go? Where is the indexing space these days? And how does fixing that part of the stack open up new applications, open up, new opportunities for end users?
Yeah, great question. I think that we've made a large amount of progress, right? So just to kind of take a little small technical detour here, like we're building on top of RPC, right? We're not replacing it. That's still the way that you're going to write transactions to the chain and you're going to pull data out. And we're building this, or we've built what I will often, when I'm talking to developers, a universal read layer on top, right? That's how I think about it. And so we've come an incredibly long way there. And if you want to index any of one of 200 chains, you can come to SQD, you can do that. In terms of have we made everything composable as an industry, as a set of organizations that work together? No. I mean, we continue to, in many ways, fragment. And that's why we need the indexing layer so much. The trend at the moment is towards ever higher throughput, ever lower latency L1s or L2s that have got EVM compatibility or just EVM compatibility in general. So no, we're in this kind of arms race of throughput and latency, and that's why we need tooling like SQD, quite frankly, because as you ramp up that throughput, the creaking infrastructure layer that allows you to get data out becomes ever more obvious. So no, we don't live in a world, unfortunately, where everything is composable, and so we need companies like SQD to solve that problem. Will we get to a composable world? The jury's out on that. It's people go and solve very specific problems, right? Companies like Monad, MegaETH, these things that are coming, they're looking to solve very specific problems for very specific users. They're not thinking about how do we make everything necessarily composed together. They're thinking about a use case of, well, how can we serve this audience? And so, yeah, I don't know. You can't have everything, right? You need a trade-off somewhere. So we can serve users and what they want, or we can try and make everything composable. I'm not sure you can have it all at the same time.
I mean, like, we are getting so much closer though, like near intents. You can do Zcash to Bitcoin to Solana all in one interface. The Infinex app is super sick too. You can do all your crypto transactions there. So it's like super close. But like, I think what you're referring to, Dan, is more like behind the scenes too, right?
Yes. And
the actual,
that
like
yeah,
lower
100%.
level stuff.
Yeah, 100%. And that's why we need tooling like SQD. At the level that you're talking about, we're getting really close. And AI agents take us to that next level because they can hide some of that complexity from us. People say to me, is an AI agent another use case for Web3? I say, no, it's a better user interface, right? So it can stitch all of those things together. So I think maybe to go back to your original question, do we have a composable layer, at a fundamental level? No, but are we building all of the tooling that allows us to stitch it together and make it seamless to the user? Yes, we're in a much, much better place than we ever are, for sure.
Beautiful.
Yo, did this guy just switch on us?
What's that?
Yo, I must be tripping out. You're facing the other way.
I don't know.
Never mind, man. Never mind.
I don't know what you're talking about.
I have not moved.
Yeah.
No, Dan, I'm talking about
So-
Robbie.
Okay.
This Andy, he makes some things up sometimes. Got a lot going on upstairs.
I'm an AI agent.
Yeah. Well, that's actually what I wanted to ask you about. So how does the indexing world work in an agentic economy? Like, I think we're all sort of on the same page where we're moving towards this world. You know, maybe it's not right now, but very, very soon we're going to have more agent-driven transactions than human-driven transactions. A lot of this is going to be happening behind the scenes. Are you guys preparing for this world? If so, how? And how do you think end users are going to, and maybe as an infrastructure project doesn't really change what you guys are doing or how you're building, but how do you think end users and consumers, how will we adapt to interact with blockchains and initiate transactions when we have more agentic driven transactions?
Yeah, it's something we talk about all the time, and we've been talking about for the last year. It really does impact us as an infrastructure provider, because we're this fundamental backbone, right? Like if we don't move to what is required, then obviously we're not doing a great job. And so we started talking about this probably late 24, as we were starting to see this kind of rise of the AI agent. And we think we maybe will have 10, 100, 1,000 times the usage from AI agents than from humans, right? And so we have to design for that. How do we design for that? It touches on what I said earlier. We have to provide an AI agent with structured data. So it needs to be able to understand what data it can even get. So that's what we would call metadata, right? So we need to allow an agent to figure out what's available, and then we need to allow an agent to query it. And crucially, we need to allow that agent to pay for that data, right? So that's where new protocols like X402 become really, really, really interesting. Because if I can just stand up an AI agent and I can make a simple HTTP request to some kind of endpoint, figure out what data I can even get, and then make a request for the data I need and pay for it, well, suddenly we're living in a completely different world, right? And an AI agent can essentially access anything on blockchain. We just need to create that infrastructure such that they can figure out what's there, query, as I mentioned, structured data, something that's meaningful to them, and then allow them to pay for it. So yeah, something we've been working on and thinking about for a long time, and it's a big part of our plans in 2026.
Nice. I mean, do we think that 2026 is like the year when agents will actually interact on chain, like consistently, or because right now it's pretty slow. It's like
we need, like anything, right? Things don't move linearly, do they? They just they spike, right? They just go. So something will happen at some point. Someone will design an agent,
and then it'll just be a wildfire,
and bang,
a wildfire.
And there'll be some SQD will position. Yeah, so I think the probability is getting stronger and stronger, right? You see, everything's moving in a certain direction. You see the LLM models getting more and more incrementally powerful. You see the CapEx. You see the way Web3 is moving. You see the agents. Yeah, we're just waiting for something to light the flame.
Incredible. Dan, what's on the roadmap to the end of the year into Q1 for you guys? What are you specifically most focused on from a technical product perspective?
So we've been working for quite a long time now on a big release called Portal. So that's the thing that I'm most excited about. And essentially, in one line, Portal replaces RPC, right? So this node that you went and queried information from, and it was slow and it breaks and it doesn't scale. Well, Portal is our replacement for that, right? So Portal is backed by SQD network, which is 3,000 nodes all over the world. It's decentralized, 3 petabytes of data, and Portal is decentralized. So anyone can stand up a portal, anyone can use it. It's completely unstoppable, as someone likes to say to me in our company, which is a really great word. So yeah, we've been working on this for a long time. The official release is November the 23rd. We're heading to ETH Global in Buenos Aires to do a hackathon on it. We're also releasing a new SDK at that point called Pipes. And we've got a ton of revamps in the works for our docs as well. So we're really got a big release coming up: docs, Pipes, and Portal. as we talk about internally. So yeah, we're super excited to get out there, see what people hack on, see what kind of things they break, what they don't break, just get the ideas of the developers. So yeah, the big news is we've been working on Portal, which is this replacement for RPC. And a lot of people have been testing it in beta for months now. So yeah, it's a super exciting close to the year. Obviously, we've just been bought by Resolve, so that adds all sorts of excitement to the journey as well. But yeah, that's our kind of North Star, releasing Portal at the moment. And a lot of the work we've done with that, with, as I mentioned, we're thinking about AI agents and we're thinking about what's coming next.
Beautiful. Dan
Awesome.
Quirk, CPO at SQD.ai. Appreciate your time. Appreciate your insights today. Recording live from Sam Altman's lair. That's Dan Quirk for you.
That's me. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Dan.
Dan.
We'll see you next time.
Later.
Take care.
Cheers. Alrighty, guys. Rob, I think this would be a really good time to have a debate.
Love it. Usually we have these debates offline.
All right. So you're obviously very bullish in November. You texted me the other day. You're like, we're gonna put the low in the early part of the year, and then we're going to pump through November. It's now November 12th. I am feeling cocky because I don't think that's gonna happen. So we're gonna give you a countdown timer here. I wish we had one on the screen. 90 seconds. Pull one up here. Got 90 seconds to give us your bull case for the end of the year. For the end of November. As we write, Bitcoin's at 1016, ETH 3444, Hype 39, Solana 153. Bullish or bearish? Where does the market go? Starting now.
My turn.
You're 5 seconds in. Here, we'll start you over. And go.
I think they're going to reopen the government. People are going to be happy. People are going to be bullish. I think the ETFs are going to go live. I think that is going to open up access to long tail alts. I think the Fed is going to cut rates in December, and that's going to catch people off guard. And we're going to start to price that in middle to the end of November once they get the data after the government reopens.
That's it? Done?
Yeah, I'll yield the rest of my time.
All right, well then you've got a guy in the chat who's responded to you. We've topped, but it doesn't mean it'll be a 2-year bear cycle like before. We may just see 4 months of bull and 4 months of bear and go back and forth.
The reality is Trump's in office. He and his family have massive Bitcoin bags and Bitcoin companies himself and his family. They love crypto. As long as he's in office, it's a bull market.
As long as Trump's in office, it's a bull market. Imagine if Kamala won, we'd be so cooked. Yeah. All right, I'll try to bring him up. I'll try to use 60 of this 90 seconds at least here and take a break. I basically think that we are at a point where there is no more exit liquidity. We have literally exhausted all of the DAT buyers. Everybody who's been raising debt in DATs, they are just buying. They've already bought. Their NAVs are totally cooked. Some of them have been forced sellers. That whole exit liquidity scheme has ran dry. It's completely dry. There is zero demand to fund any new digital asset treasury company. MicroStrategy is absolutely cooked, down about 50% from the highs, probably at a good bounce spot, but its NAV, its MNAV, its premium to MNAV is also down about less than 10% higher. It's about 1.1, 1.09. I got to check the exact number. Cooked. There's no marginal buying power from the big boys. Tom Lee and Saylor are out of powder. They need to get a bigger price movement to the upside to be able to fuel this bull run higher. We're not getting that. There's no buying power. Everyone in the market has been mentally conditioned to be absolutely greedy as hell. Everyone wants to sell half on a double or 100% on a 20% move because they're so scared. No one believes in anything in the market right now. No one believes and maybe hyperliquid at the very best. People have some belief in. That's it. There's a market full of non-believers, apathetic, short-term mindset gamblers, and the big boys are out of powder. So like, there's only 2 ways this plays out. We somehow rip higher because of like what Rob's saying, or we basically have to go to a price where people deem this to be fair value, and then that's where they buy.
Ending your rant by saying this could go either way. We could either rip higher or we go lower. Like, All
No,
right.
it's like
Entry,
in order
exit,
for
take
actual
profit, stop loss.
in order for actual capital to come in, two things need to happen. One of two things need to happen. They need to pump the market higher so these DATs can recycle and keep buying, borrow more, and buy more, or they need to dump this thing, take some dead bodies outside, and get it to where some bigger whales have a fair value.
Didn't we do that on October 10th?
Kinda. And yeah, I get it. It is up or down, but like that's the bearish thesis right now.
We have fatigue. There's so much fatigue in the market because people
is.
don't have the endurance to go up forever.
No.
And so
Like it wasn't easy to hold Nvidia for fucking 12 years before it went vertical. It wasn't easy to hold Amazon for 25 years before it went vertical.
So people just get chopped up. I think if you have your value in places where you think there's going to be sustainable growth or they have revenue and they're going to be able to sustain a business, like what are we talking about here? Why get fatigued? Stay patient. Business models take time to see compounds.
I hear you, man.
I just think I think we went up for so long. Now we're just we have just distribution. I mean, you're a technical analysis guy. Isn't this chop? This is distribution at a new price point.
Yeah, it's bearish.
Distribution is bearish.
Yeah.
Why?
Because people selling.
But you only sell if there's a buyer on the other end. If they're selling, but we're not falling in price, then we're just exchanging hands. There's equal amounts of selling.
Well,
and
I
buying.
do agree that is happening.
Distribution, right? And that's how
like it's more of like
established.
distribution is met with accumulation.
Yeah,
but obviously the market on a lot of these tokens like is looking more like distribution without accumulation. Like the Sol chart is destroyed. That chart is disgusting.
I mean, Sol is an L1 that doesn't have a ton of differentiation from other L1s. And so if you look at the institutional cycle, which I firmly believe, there's also there's categories in a secular bull bear case. It's no longer, 0% interest rate environment. Maybe, when Powell is out and there's a new Fed chairman and Trump really takes control of the money printer like next summer, maybe that's when we get cut rates, low rate environment, inject liquidity into the system, and everything goes up at once. That's not what's happening right now. I think smooth landing, Goldilocks era, we're going to get lower rates, but we're also going to have somewhat low inflation, low unemployment, and, we're going to be running GDP at like 2.5 to 3%. That is a recipe for a good economy. So I think that is what is starting to happen. We're almost landing the plane. And then when we do end up there, it's not going to just, rip. We're going to end up with a point where we're going to have this repricing of assets. And I expect quality assets to do quite well, which is why I think it's important to be in sustainable businesses that have some sort of revenue and some sort of sustainable business model. And I think we're going to hear from Michael and Vance later today or tomorrow, and they'll probably agree with that thesis, right? That we should be invested in good companies with a good business model. And you can say, oh, my bags are with good companies, right? Everyone says that. But if you're looking at crypto, only a handful have revenue. Only a handful have sustainable business models.
Yeah.
I think those are the tokens to own. Those are the ones that are going to get repriced higher because we're not in this. When I say Goldilocks era, I mean like macro Goldilocks, like low inflation, low unemployment, low interest rates, and high GDP growth. I think that is the meta. Like that is that's the moment right now. And in that zone, quality does well, and things that aren't quality, speculation doesn't necessarily do well. So I think we're entering this Goldilocks era. I think Powell is actually going to try his darndest to hold on for dear life and not give into the political pressure, basically land this plane with the best of his abilities. And then, we're going to enter this like Q1, Q2 phase, tax season. It's not really going to be as much life in the market. And we're going to see a repricing. And Powell's not going to want to cut rates as aggressively because he knows that Trump and whoever he puts into place is going to want to cut aggressively in the summer. And so I think we're going to get this repricing into Q1, and we're just going to slowly grind higher and chop. Really, I think the majors are going to chop. We're going to see a repricing in alts. That's my thesis into Q1 for the rest of Q4.
So bullish. So bullish, this guy. I fucking love it. I'm so fired up to be your business partner, man. Let's go to the fucking moon and back. Why don't we? I got another thing for you there, Robert. Mr. Robert. Uniswap and Lido token buybacks announced. The revenue meta is firmly on. It's not a meta. It is the revenue perpetuity meta, if that even makes sense. It's kind of ironic. What is your take on Uniswap announcing buybacks for Uni token? The separation of token and equity, Lido doing the same. What does this mean for effectively DeFi protocols? This idea that Andre Cronje created for us, this valueless governance token idea, right? Where like, oh, I'm going to drop a Medium article and it's just going to have like, this is a valueless governance token. Uniswap has now come forward, put out a proposal on this, and is talking about what matters to them, and why they're doing this, and why they are bringing Uni token into a different light. So, Rob, give us your take. Revenue meta, boom or bust, Uniswap token. You got the proposal in front of you. What does the Uniswap token buyback mean for crypto? Like, are we going to see more DEX teams? Copy this. I see Aerodrome coming out with something that's saying that they're going to kill Uniswap because, Uniswap's going to go and charge these fees and Aerodrome's not, yada, yada. Meanwhile, Uniswap prints 9 figures of revenue a year and they're going to have all these buybacks. Is Uniswap token a buy, Rob? Where are we at?
It was a buy. I mean, don't take it from me. Take it from the market. Uniswap token 2x'd pretty much overnight. It's come back a little bit, but the market tells you everything you need to know. This was Hayden Adams that made this proposal. It's probably going to be a governance vote, but this thing is going to go through. They're going to have buybacks. I don't think it's, look, it all depends on time horizon, right? I mean, if you're going to be holding this thing for years, yeah, it's a buy. I can see how there's going to be some sort of DAT or Ethereum aligned corporation that is looking at this thing and they're thinking to themselves, yeah, isn't this like the 10th time that Uniswap has proposed a fee switcher proposal? The first time, I think this is actually the second time. And the first time, there was some sort of like 10% thing that ended up going to the Uniswap token, but it wasn't the full fee switch. Like they did turn on the fee switch. That did happen. And so if you make a swap on Uniswap, there is a front end fee. So the first time it was proposed, yes, the fee switch did get turned on, but all of that revenue has been going to the Labs Corporation. And so now this proposal is to actually not increase the fees. The fees already been on, but it's to redirect that revenue back to token holders. So I think this is actually a much more bullish proposal than the previous proposal when it got turned on. And I think you saw the market react that way. Too much conflicts with Uniswap on-chain, Uniswap Labs off-chain. No, they're going to do it because look at who's voting on the proposal. It's Uniswap token holders. So when you look at the stakeholders and you look at the incentives, the stakeholders, the voters have everything to gain from this proposal going live. So even if Uniswap Labs doesn't like it, I mean, their chairman and CEO is the one who proposed it. So I think they've obviously got a plan. If I'm looking at this and I'm looking for a token to hold in some sort of Ethereum aligned company or DAT, or if I'm building a reserve of tokens, like this is one that I would feel comfortable holding for the next decade.
That's pretty bullish, dude.
But if I'm looking for a quick 10x, if I'm looking for a quick 10x, Uniswap already 2x'd. The underrated play, and actually what I'm going to check now is Clanker. Clanker started this. I think they got acquired by Farcaster, and then they've come down quite a bit. That is probably a good play. Again, they're sitting at about a 3x from where they were pre-buybacks. But I would just imagine that a lot of these tokens just melt up. there's not much, if they're doing buybacks, there's not much sell pressure. Does 1 inch do buybacks? I don't know. Probably, I don't think so, actually. Don't think 1 inch does buybacks. So it's all about your time horizon. I think a lot of companies are very sticky liquidity. Some of those ETH DATs started to sell, like ETHZilla sold a little bit, but I don't think these other bigger ones like SBET or BitMine, I don't think they're going to be selling. I think they still have cash on hand. Yes, they do need volatility in order to raise more cash and buy more tokens, but I think they're going to end up building out a reserve of tokens that aren't just ETH. I think they're also going to build out a stockpile of the best Ethereum aligned devs. We've got more comments in the chat. How much revenue does Unichain do? Will this proposal help or hinder Unichain? Don't have a great answer. I think Unichain doesn't do a lot right now. Most of the Uniswap volume is still coming from ETH mainnet and some of the other L2s. I don't know. Andy, what's your take? What is Unichain doing these days?
Haven't really heard much, honestly. But they're still going. It's just they don't really have that much users. But if you go on L2B, having some pretzels over here. L2B, they're number 10 in terms of TVL, so they're cooking, bro. I mean, fuck, it's pretty damn good.
Yeah, look, Uniswap is a very sustainable team. I think they have long-term goals in mind. They're not going to do something like launch an entire chain if they didn't think it was going to be helpful to their overall business model. So I think they're going to slowly but surely start to direct more and more traffic there as they get more distribution. I think it makes a ton of sense. I think honestly, if you think about the stable chain narratives, like ARC, Tempo, the main thing to think about here is capital velocity. Like you don't need a ton of TVL just sitting on the chain in order for the chain to do well. They can, and especially as ZK costs come down, it could become, and depending on the amount of liquidity that they're sourcing from other venues, it could make sense for them to take funds from an L2 or from mainnet, bridge them over to Unichain, do the swap, and then send the funds back. Oh, shout out to Rumor app. That Rumor app you guys covered a while back has been my favorite Telegram app. Did y'all see the rumor that Robinhood might integrate Lighter?
Whole other thing about the Hyperliquid thesis. Lighter raised $68 million at 1.5 billion, and they announced it yesterday.
Yeah,
that's some crazy shit, dude. Like Hyperliquid has officially competition now.
Yeah, they do.
They definitely do, and we know how Perp's competition has phased out in the past.
Hyperliquid did go down today. They had some maintenance that was being done.
Okay, but it was programmed.
I believe so.
Okay, yeah, bullish. That's bullish.
Yeah. So, I mean, Lighter raising, right? Yeah, we won't really see this as like a call sheet poly market, prediction markets, competition, one kind of makes the other one better, kind of leapfrogging one another in terms of valuation.
Nah, that's different. This is different for sure. Way different.
But Hyperliquid does already have, their integrations into their distribution partners.
Oh yeah, Phantom, all of them.
Rabby.
Dude, Robinhood would choose Hype over Lighter for sure.
Absolutely. Also, I'm pretty sure the Hyperliquid strategies DAT is going to go live this week or next week. And pretty substantial amount of cash to be injected into the market. Yeah, so there's lots of catalysts.
Yeah. Guys, we're going to take a break. We'll be back in about, what, half hour or less?
About a half hour or so.
We'll play some tunes. Y'all can vibe. We'll see you in a second, all right? Alrighty, guys, we
We're
got
live.
Sam from Frax, who is not making it to Buenos Aires for Dev Connect.
Ah,
How could he do this to us? How could he do this to us? How are you,
I,
Sam?
I feel the FOMO, guys. I already feel the FOMO. But I did the KBW and token tour, and just feel like you gotta grind on all things stable coins, DeFi, Frax. So have a
you
good
got
time.
to. You got to. You had an institutional network of payment providers to ship. So that is a totally valid reason not to slide to the conference, man. Congrats
Yes,
on
Rob, we got to
Fraxnet.
introduce the show here. It's Stabled Up episode 10, Sam. I know this was just an idea in our minds back in the day, but it has really came together. I think it's your second time on. Congrats on Fraxnet. Congrats for the growth of the show, for the growth of just the entire stablecoin ecosystem.
Thanks, guys. Yeah, I mean, I think this show is going to be the coolest stablecoin show in 2026. Let's be honest, right? Like, you guys have done a great job. Great guests. I love the Jeremy Allaire episode. Got to get other guys up here, and it's been a good few weeks at Frax as well. Obviously the market itself hasn't been great, as I'm sure everyone listening to this knows, in terms of volatile assets, in terms of DeFi and things like that. We did release Fraxnet, our neobank platform, with a ton of signups and people using it, which is fantastic. But I think the more important stuff, like right now in the near term, like that people are probably thinking about, is all the DeFi blowups, thankfully of none of which affects Frax and kind of the blue chip DeFi stuff like Aave, us, I think like Sky, totally unaffected, right? This stream finance stuff and the kind of contagion that that has happened. So hopefully you guys are either safe and comfy in spot or in DeFi that you trust. So yeah.
Bit of both. Yeah, I mean, it was just like, it's not super inspiring to have one of the biggest OG DeFi protocols being Balancer get exploited in year 5. It's just like, it doesn't send a great message to investors. I don't think. I think the key lesson here is that there's a difference between rehypothecation and recursive lending. Rehypothecation is a method of basically kind of like looping on a single platform with a single wallet. Recursive lending is, I'm going to give my money to Sam, count it as TVL. Sam's going to give that money back to me, count it as TVL. We're going to give it to Robbie, count that as TVL, and then Robbie's going to give it to Sam and then back to me, and then we all just have massive TVL. And so that was, I think, like the core lesson learned amongst others, as well as just like the opaqueness of doing like off-chain vaults. We can touch on that for a bit, but I think there's some more positive developments to talk about, Sam.
Yeah, definitely. I think I was looking at this and like trying to also move on, but take lessons learned from this whole situation. And I think the main thing to take away from this as like an industry, and I posted about it before, is like curators right now, which for people that don't know, that they're basically people that run vaults, and then also funny enough also analyze risk and do risk ratings. A lot of them are great, fantastic. All of them, Lombo Risk, Gauntlet, Mev, all of them. Some of them had issues, some of them didn't. I think the main thing to take away from me was that we need to separate the entities that actually evaluate credit risk from the ones that actually allocate and take risk. And this is why in like TradFi, there's arm's length people doing the credit ratings, like the AAA ratings and things like that. And then the actual people that trade the mortgage-backed securities or loans, totally siloed, segregated. They have like, regulatory audits and stuff. And by the way, it doesn't mean that what is going on in TradFi is like perfect either, because we all know like literally that, when you're in TradFi, you literally decide who you pay to do the credit rating. So it's kind of weird, right? Like, oh, like how good do you think my risk is? And then maybe I'll go and give money to you to rate it versus someone else. It's still better than the current situation in DeFi, where the person that is actually in charge of like the risk analysis, posting it, and then like backing it in like governance and things like that, are the same people that, like you said, Andy, like are like moving the funds here and then there and then imagine in TradFi the equivalent would be like if the guy at the trading desk that is actually like about to make the 200 million like bond purchase in another tab has the credit rating like form open, and he's like, yeah, I'm gonna rate this AAA and then like submit it to like Moody's or whatever, and then I'm gonna buy it, right? That's the equivalent of what it is right now. I think we need to think about this a little bit more, and it doesn't have to get any more complicated, like slashing or extra convoluted stuff. I think it literally just has to be a little bit better separated. Like for example, for us at Frax, we have our SFrax USD earn vault, right? It's a savings yield vault. But the way that we do it is like we have literally governance processes that, and again, there's large stakeholders. People, it's not perfect. People are like, oh, there's like big stakeholders or whatever, like Convex or whatever. But the governance sets the guardrails, and then the vault only does the very, very small things that the guardrails are there. It's not that the team sets totally novel things that you could just trust us, bro, right? So I think there's got to be some kind of differentiation, but hopefully it seems like that stuff is over for now, at least I hope so.
Yeah, it was a little bit unsettling to see that this is still happening in 2025. I think this was a little bit reminiscent of the 2020, 2021 algo stablecoin frenzy when we had a lot of experimentation. But now, we're in the world of Genius. This is why Genius exists, right? I'm curious how you're seeing some of the stablecoin landscape play out a little bit more broadly. I'd also love a catch up on FraxNet. Because generally, the idea is that we bring this regulation forward. Not everyone has to comply with it, but we can kind of have the stamp of approval on a certain set of stable coins, and then these are the stable coins that have some more consumer trust in them. And so, how are you seeing stablecoin landscape play out generally? Like, what are the stablecoins that you see as kind of rising to the top and really bolstering themselves and becoming more robust as the regulation develops? And then I know FraxNet is like linking all these things together and being kind of like the glue that holds the stablecoin industry together. So would love an understanding of how FraxNet is helping to really strengthen and solidify all of the stablecoins that are capitalizing on Genius.
Yeah, for sure. I think the more time goes on, the more I've realized it literally isn't specifically about like Genius, like the bill, but more like what the act actually represents. Because without this stuff, I don't think the like 60-70% of the activity, like Western Union 2 weeks ago announcing they're going to do their own stable coin, other big companies. I think JPM earlier today was like, oh, the deposit token at like JPM banks is on base, right? You can test it out and things like that. And we've talked to them a little bit even before that. So there's some cool stuff that we're thinking about as well. I think the most important thing is what it represents, right? And so everyone has a stablecoin strategy, and the breadth of different types of stablecoins will have like this kind of spectrum. I kind of call this like the spectrum of different stablecoins, from extreme money, right? Stablecoins that are like universally accepted, like Tether, obviously the most moneyness out of all, and then like USDC. Hopefully, Frax USD is what we're building towards in terms of being able to be one-to-one and widely accepted everywhere, right? And then you'll have this like long arc of kind of I guess the way to put it is like gift card stablecoins, Genius coins, which like if you think about all of these stores, if it's like Starbucks, if it's Costco, if it's online places, right? They'll have these programmable digital dollars that basically you can use to get better deals and these kind of things. But then the most important is what platforms actually allow you to go between all of them, as you earn like some of them in DeFi, which are more money like, right? But then you maybe get a some Starbucks USD or something, right? And you want to actually swap it in for different stable coins. Something like FraxNet, which is basically like a neobank that is a professional neobank platform, so people can sign up, or entities, right? And then you can swap, go in and out to fiat on-off ramps and one-to-one to all major stablecoins, right? Like Frax USD, USDC, USDT. We're going to increase, right now it's PYUSD, USDB from Stripe and Bridge, and going to increase the actual coverage. And so you can think of it like a clearinghouse, right? Like a clearinghouse for major stablecoins. It's non-custodial. You can attach any wallet, right? Or custodial if you need one, like BitGo wallet, Fireblocks, which recently fully integrated Frax USD custody, and all these other Fraxnet hooks and stuff like that. So that's what we're building. We're building kind of the central clearinghouse, and then in the middle is obviously like Frax USD, but you don't have to use it. You could use whatever other stablecoins you want, right? And I think that's where things are going. I think that when there's going to be 1,000 stablecoins, I know that the contrary view, right, is like stablecoins are like going to be L2s, where people were like, every company is going to have an L2. I think that was probably a little too much, right? But companies have gift cards, companies have websites, right? Like they might not need like a literal blockchain themselves, but I think it's not the same thing. I think you'll see a lot more stable coins that will be successful, that'll have like narrow scope distribution, and they'll be money makers. They'll be able to actually capture both the underlying yields and then also the revenues from like payments, everything, by getting it integrated in payments processors. So we'll see. I'm really excited for basically seeing how those type of stable coins will interact with on-chain DeFi, and where we can bring value, because that's where Frax actually lives, right at the intersection of on-chain DeFi and now off-chain institutional payment flows, on-off ramp flows.
Yeah, man. I mean, Rob, that was one big trend of SmartCon, right? Where it's like, okay, we've got these RWAs on chain now, but like, then what? And I know Plume's doing a decent job of having like this kind of RWA ecosystem. There's obviously stablecoin yields across dozens of chains now, but it does feel like the next step here is like actually bringing on these, whether it's a Genius compliant stablecoin or some T-bill based yield products or other products, and like integrating them into DeFi. Sam, I'm curious if your vision still persists, because once you said this to us, I think it was on the first episode of this show with regards to the two types. I've been using that nonstop, and everyone loves it, and they totally vibe with it. They agree with it. They understand it. Is that still very much your vision for like the two types of stablecoins? You got the Genius compliant ones and kind of like the yield bearing ones, and I know it's a bit more nuanced than that, but just kind of tapping into it.
Yeah, I think that's proven. To be even more specific, what I mean by it is like a payment type of stable coin, and then like the savings or the yield bearing stable coins. And internally in the payments ones, right, the most important thing with a payment stable coin is how many places universally accepted as money, right? And the more safe it is, the closer to risk free it is, the more likely this will be a payment stablecoin, right? Like what a payment asset is that every N person or entity that accepts it, it becomes more valuable for the next N+1, right? So like it's very difficult to get the first place to accept your thing as a payment, right? The second person, slightly easier, but still very hard because it's only two, right? And then the third, slightly easier, fourth, fifth, sixth, right? And then the whole point is the more widely accepted it is as payment, the more likely the next marginal person or N+1 will accept it. Well, if you think about it for a second, what is the most important properties of a stable coin to maximize that function, N+1 acceptance over time? It cannot be super complicated underlying, so that every single N person, institution, entity has to analyze, oh, if I accept this thing, is it going to implode or whatever? They just want $1. They don't even want yield for payments, right? Like if you just think about this kind of type 1 kind of payment asset, it just has to be very simple, right? And that is, Genius compatible, or maybe something that's very mature like Tether doesn't even need to be that, because it's so money-like. It's just out in a league of its own, right? And it's simple. Everyone can understand it. It's useful as a form of payment and general money. Then when you have it, right, the second type is, okay, when I hold it, or anyone holds a stable coin, how can I get yield from it? What's the savings account kind of structure? What is kind of this system? And I think one thing that was interesting, I think it was Paul Frambot, that the the founder of Morpho, that talked about how everything is volts, right? Volts is the next thing. And I think whether we call it yield-bearing stablecoins or volt stablecoins or whatever, I think is a good way to think about it, because then the payment stablecoins are put into these savings volts, these yield-bearing, 4626 volts, whatever you want to call them, and those have risk, obviously, right? Those clearly, some of them have terrible risk, unfortunately, like the USDX stuff, right? Some of them are super blue chip, like Sky SUSDS, like Frax SFrax USD, or Athena SUSD, and they can support large TVL. They've never had an issue. There's never been an exploit. They're very, very transparent about where the money actually is going. And if you think about it, those aren't actually good payments, to believe it or not, right? Because you do not go to people and be like, do you accept like SFRX USD or SUSDE, which is $1.17 today or something like that. They just want to accept $1, right? So these two types of class of stablecoins, I think, will become solidified. Like these are the two types. There's no other types. The other types that we used to talk about, CDPs, underlying algorithmic or whatever, they're basically subcategories of the vault savings, because that's how you actually get the yield for taking risk, right?
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah, Andy, did you have a follow-up?
No, I mean, very, very well put. And just generally, like, when that idea has been brought to anyone from a suit to a dev, they all kind of jive with it and understand it. So I think it's like a really good, it just makes sense. It's like, guys, we've been trying to like kind of fit a square into a circle hole. It's like, no, why don't we just have very safe stable coins with no yield, no risk? And then, have ones that obviously, if there is yield, there's going to be risk. It's like finance 101, but took us a couple of years to figure it out.
It's interesting because before, I used to even think that checking and savings accounts were like an artifact of like traditional finance, because things were like super inefficient and stuff like that. But now I think, and this will be more obvious to other people too, is like checking and savings accounts are actually like a fundamental, like Platonic form of finance. Like it's like an equation of like, F equals MA, or like you discover this form that, and it's not because it's like, oh, the banks were inefficient. It's like, actually, those are the two forms. You have payments based flows and units, and then you have savings based units, and those units usually have risk, and you should hopefully be getting good risk adjusted yield for them. And so it's not that like checking and savings are like this thing of banks and like they had shitty tech or something like that. It is actually an economic form.
Yeah. And it also goes to show that there's a really nice segue from stablecoins into RWAs, because as you start to think more about what these yield-bearing stablecoins look like, they start to look more and more like some sort of tokenized T-bill, treasury, RWA structured product type of thing that people can store their wealth in, and there's deep liquidity, and it can effectively serve as a savings account, but not a savings account that gives you 0.002% interest like a savings account in a fiat-based bank. It's giving you the risk-free rate that everyone knows, once you kind of have some sort of awareness of the treasury bill bond market that's out there. And so we can actually 10x or 100x and increase by an order of magnitude or more the amount of interest that we're getting on some reserves and some of our savings. Sam, do you think about this ever? Like, to me, whenever we're increasing something by orders of magnitude, that could pose some pretty substantial ripple effects throughout, the economy or society. Do you think that's like kind of flying under the radar, as we kind of move our cash savings account into a tokenized version of an RWA structured product, and we go from, 0.4% to 4%? Do you think that's going to have any sort of knock-on effects?
Yeah, I think first of all, anytime that there's like more efficiency, it's always better, even if I honestly can't think of an example. Let me know if you do, where there was a lot of efficiency in a market, right, which was legal, right? Like there's obviously, you don't want crazy markets for like drugs, assassinations, etc., but a legal market where there's efficiency gains, where it's actually been bad, right? And so the important thing is even like the community banks and stuff that are like, oh no, if this happens, like we won't be able to lend to whatever. These efficiency gains are not good efficiency gains. Essentially, is what they're saying. I think it's total bull, especially because I don't know if you guys saw the new I think it was the Fed report. I forget which regional Fed it was, where it said that stable coins actually have a good chance of lowering credit costs, like interest on loans. And it's like, oh wow, look, now it's the exact opposite. The data and the assumptions is it's actually going to make creating credit easier rather than harder, contrary to what the anti crypto bank lobby actually says, right? And so I think we're going to see more and more people actually understand that it's a good thing in every way, even if like there's some like not great arguments of like, oh, deposit flight or whatever. The funny thing with the deposit flight argument, by the way, is that if you read the Genius Act, one of the actual bill, like the collateral types that are accepted is bank deposits at FDIC insured banks. So like you can literally create a Genius compatible stablecoin with, for example, the tokenized JP Morgan deposits today that they announced. Like that is literally a compliant stablecoin if you want to go in that direction. It obviously looks slightly different than like the tokenized T-bills that like we work with at FraxUSD with like BIDL, Superstate, Wisdom Tree, and them, but it's still compliant. It's the same. And I think it's just going to create a lot more efficiency. And what's interesting, and then you brought this up of like, what stuff are we thinking about? The design space for like transparent Genius stables is not very big, right? There's these 5 like assets, right, that you can use. And then the 5th clause is like tokenized representations of the above 4, right? That's literally the definition in the bill. And it's actually, I think what's unique is that if you can get the most utility and efficiency out of this narrow design space. So what we do with FraxUSD is we have all of the collateral tokenized on-chain as RWA securities, right? So we really make use of that 5th oft forgotten clause of like tokenized representations of like the above securities and assets, right? And so we allow redemptions atomically on-chain, and we allow people to actually mint and redeem if they can move the RWA token. In a certain sense, we even allow people to redeem for USDC and other tokens in line if there's a market maker that can touch the RWA and then put USDC into the redemption contract, and then the ARB bot or whatever is on chain, the MEV bot can only touch like USDC or USDT. And so we actually have the most efficient, compliant design architecture of, at least that I've seen, of a Genius compatible stablecoin with FraxUSD. And as it gets bigger, it'll be this like center of liquidity with all the other, it'll basically be the pair, so to speak, right, of all of the compliant RWA securities that you can back it with, especially the ones that we have partnerships with. And so that'll make it even more and more enticing for other entities like JP Morgan or the next one or whatever to participate and use FraxUSD, get us to integrate it into our system. And so it's a really interesting, quiet thing that we're doing, that we're seeing more and more volume, more usage, more growth. The supply with FraxUSD in the past 30 days has actually gone up by like almost 40%. And it's been good. Things are growing and up and to the right, regardless of the market turmoil.
Yeah, it's bullish, guys. Quick news that just hit the wire. Dubai court freezes $456 million linked to Justin Sun's bailout of True USD issuer Tecteryx. Just another example, right? I don't really remember what happened to True USD.
I don't either. All I know is some kind of stuff like it was during when
somehow,
they launched SQD or something. Do you remember that one?
Yeah, but like just another example of basically saying what you're saying right here about FRXUSD, about the moneyness of these assets, about the Genius compliant nature of these assets, and just kind of, I mean, to me, it seems like Fraxnet is pretty much all in on this Genius compliant nature of future stable coins. Like it seems like that's the bet that you're taking, and then the bigger bet is basically just like all of these different types of companies in the world will try to be launching their own Genius compliant stablecoins, in this gift card fashion, let's say. And that Fraxnet wants to be kind of like the glue there. And yeah, I mean, look, like the supply is going up. It's great. the market's going down. That's fine. But it seems like you're playing a way bigger game than like, what is the price of Bitcoin today?
Yeah, we try not to look at it, although obviously we're crypto guys. It's hard,
Yeah.
but the important thing I think over the long term is like we're not building for next year or the year after. It's like a 3 to 5 year time horizon to see if we're correct about exactly as you're saying. We can also do even more interesting stuff as the Fraxnet platform matures, right? So one of the things we're looking at is white label issuance using the Fraxnet infrastructure and actually having relationships with these companies that might be fine with using Frax USD or USDT or USDC, but then they also want, like I said, their own kind of branded or gift card programmable digital dollar, right? Because there's no reason why if we've built all this architecture and infrastructure and neobank system for Frax USD, it can't be used for a close partner that we want one-to-oneness with anyway, right? And you can kind of think about it like if you work with us or if you want us to issue your own Genius compliant stablecoin, you don't have to actually recreate the wheel. You don't have to recreate the on-off ramp. You don't have to recreate the virtual accounts, on-chain, mint and burns, all of these things. You get all of that for free rather than having to do each of those individual things. And so there's a very wide set of like tentacles that the whole Fraxnet like platform can slowly move into. And like you said, we're looking at where things are going, not just this week, but like next year, basically.
Yeah. Sam, what sectors, or like, is there a sector specific mindset you have with regards to the types of companies that will be, eager to launch a stablecoin and wanting to have them be certainly Genius compliant, thus a good customer for Frax?
I mean, I think the most important thing, if you're gonna like work with us over other good providers, of course, like we know a lot of them, is that hopefully you do want on-chain utility, this ability to mint and burn quickly between a few chains, which we have the most coverage out of all of the issuance platforms or companies. You do want to actually have on-chain integrations as well as the off-chain banking and institutional like flows and backing it with like BlackRock Biddle or Superstate and other RWAs or cash. If it's just, I guess that this doesn't really apply because I'm not sure who would be listening super natively to crypto. But if there's no use on-chain for the stablecoin, it's only for like remittance and things like that. I guess it's like slightly less of a good fit, but even like fintechs that would like to have on-chain utility either now or eventually for their issued stablecoin, I think Frax is unmatched in that area in terms of on-chain integrations, on-chain utility, and then connecting that now to off-chain.
Incredible. Makes sense. Man, I think, what we saw, we were at SmartCon last week, we were in New York, and, there was Fidelity, BlackRock, there was DTCC, there was, people say trillions, there was literally quadrillions of settlement volume in the room. And it just, it's inspiring, but it's also signaling that this is kind of where the men separate from the boys. And I tend to think that we're going to see this repricing in the market where coming up in 2026, we're going to get this institutional cycle. And if you have an institutional strategy, this is where you're going to sort of ascend into the next leg of where this industry is going. And if you don't, you're just going to get left behind. So I guess, Sam, maybe you could just describe what it's been like, thinking back to 2021 and 2020 when you were around. Not everyone, that's around today was around back then, but you saw the evolution of the space. You saw point A to point B and the before and after. Could you just, like, when you're in the conversations, when you're in the rooms, when you're having these conversations, what does the before and after look like, and how stark of a difference is it? And where do you think we go from here when we kind of close out Q4 and we go into Q1?
Yeah, it's been a crazy past like 5 years, and obviously before that, I was in crypto for a while before the DeFi cycle too. I really do think that all of this stuff, like you're saying, the trillions and settlement volume, the big boys and stuff, is because the Genius Act opened. It doesn't mean they're all like going to issue Genius compliant stablecoins, but it really is what the act represents, the regulatory clarity for digital dollars. And this part is just like a rumor, but I've heard it from some people that I like kind of trust. And one of the things they told me is like during all of these tariff like negotiations and backroom things and stuff like that, one of the things the administration, particularly Secretary Bessent, has like said is like you have to open your country to dollar stablecoins. It's as important for the U.S. to do that as like opening your banking system and things like that. Again, I don't actually know that firsthand, but it's from people that I trust. And if that's true, that is really, really awesome, because first of all, that is such a long-term strategic view of the US dollar and what stablecoins mean to the US dollar in terms of having a ton of new treasury demand, right? And people using it across different countries. It's actually very, very impressive to see forward-thinking administration like this one actually bring it up and potentially bring it up in high stakes negotiations. So seeing that, and then from, like you said, from 5 years ago where people were like, building things named sushi, hamburger, pickle, and all this stuff is pretty crazy, right? And so I think it's far beyond just one act, right? Like this bill and things like that. It's more about how big can we get, how quickly can we get there, and making sure that you're at the frontier to be able to provide this efficiency, these services to people that, like you said, they're the big boys, right? They settle trillions, and they're finally here, right?
I mean, yeah, I mean, Rob and I have been kind of like pontificating, and like, if you don't have a seat at the table right now, there's still some seats open in the market in general, but like the seats are getting sat, and the table is getting set with regards to the players that are going to lead the next cycle. And so it's like, no pressure, Sam, but like same to us, where it's like, well, you guys, you have to capture some portion of the market, right? Because like we're in this adoption phase where this only happens once. Now it's massive and it's huge and it's vast and it's, as Rob says, quadrillions. But like this time period, it will last, however many number of years, and there will be winners, and then there will be the rest. And so it does feel like a bit of urgency in the air right now with regards to the institutional adoption phase.
Oh, we definitely feel the urgency. In fact, there's so much stuff to capture that it honestly, you obviously have to concentrate on certain things, and there's too much stuff. But the most important thing to think about, I was thinking like certain type of like tokens or protocols. For example, Aave came to mind, and Pendle came to mind. Most people probably don't remember, but Aave was originally like ETHLend, right?
Yep.
And so they did some cool products, and then they're like, okay, let's restructure, change the brand, like redo some tokenomics, and then push it out. And then Aave now is, like the rest is history, right? Like up and to the right, and just use Aave, right? When you're doing lending or borrowing, right? And same thing with like Pendle. If you look at the Pendle like chart of the token or something, and this is not obviously investment advice, but if you look at just overall like the life cycle, right? There was this like quiet period before they, hit Eureka, right? And the period is when you're designing, what you're doing, and you feel like the thing that you're in is the right place, right time, and a huge market opportunity. And I think then again with Pendle, rest is history, right? Up and to the right, and like a perfect product market fit that brings so much value to tons of people. And I think the comparison I give, again, not investment advice at Aave token, Pendle, Frax tokens or anything, but with the Frax token protocol, this stuff, I really actually feel like between 2020, like you were saying, Robbie, and then like 2025 is between our ETHLend phase and then our Aave phase. And so like the things we've learned and the adjustments that we've done, and then the things that we know are coming, and obviously change in tokenomics and things like that. We can, that's a whole separate episode. Obviously, like recently Uniswap also announced this huge thing where, Uni token's been quiet for a while, and people are like, what does it even do? And then they came out, right? And we're like, okay, I actually really love that unification token proposal, right? I don't know if you guys have talked about that at length yet, but I think these things where there's this period of quiet, recalibration, readjustment, and then huge value creation. There's going to be a few of these, like you said, Robbie. And I think we've seen evidence before of other cycles, like Aave and Pendle. What's going to be the ones in next cycle? And obviously, I'm biased, and I think it's Frax, but that's not going to be the only one. I think there's a few other really interesting ones, and I think that's the real question, right? What's the next like 20, 30x that is right at the right place at the right time, that is creating value and knows what's going to happen in 2026 and 2027?
100%.
Very well said.
That's very bullish for Frax, by the way. Extremely bullish.
We'll see. I think so too. We'll see soon.
Yeah. Sam, thanks for your time, man. We are very, very slammed into DevConnect. We are stoked to get out there. Again, bummed that you're not going to be there. Sure, we'll see you at a conference towards the end of the year or early next. But yeah, it's crunch time. It's Q4. It's crunch time. So we appreciate your hard work. Congrats on Fraxnet. Congrats on the success. Let's just say that there's some stable coins right now that are the stablecoin rankings are being flipped, and if you know, you know. So we'll see you on the other side, Sam.
Thanks, guys. Enjoy DevConnect, and talk to you soon.
Cheers,
Thanks, man. We'll see you soon.
Alrighty, Rob. Well, hey guys, great Stabled Up episode, great stream. Rob, close this out, man.
Look, I think it's pretty clear that Frax is doing something right. You don't get in the room with the legislators writing laws into action if you're not doing something right. So congrats to Sam, literally writing the Genius Act. That's why he knows every provision in the act. And then obviously he can capitalize on it, right? I think you made a good point. Stable coins are getting tested. They're getting stress tested. And Frax holds up. I also think Fraxnet is huge, gluing together the stablecoin industry.
Yep.
Just look, we know that this is a gigantic market, and if you can be selling picks and shovels into this market, there is a gold rush that is happening, and there's tons of speculation. Like Circle beat earnings yesterday, but still their stock dropped because there was so much speculation, so much expectation. So I think Frax is doing something right. I think they're leading the way when it comes to Genius compliant stablecoins. There's tons of stablecoins out there. Mica, Genius. It's going to be up to companies to pick which one is best. But I think Sam is doing great when it comes to bringing crypto and stablecoins back to America for the stablecoin super cycle.
Yeah, man. That's well said. Guys, thanks for watching today's stream. We'll see you guys tomorrow. And thanks for watching another episode of Rollup TV. Peace.